Oh, good afternoon, beautiful people. Good afternoon. And then, give it, come on, with you all. Hey, guys. Um, hey, Miss J, December baby. I wanted to come on and talk to you guys about Sean Bradley's video. I listened to it while I was at work, and I thought it was such a good conversation to have. Uh, hey, Andrea, baby, let me tell you, I love your point of view, Andrea Lynch, because I I agree with you and Beyond Beauty. Um, and hey, Cap, let me say something. I understand black men, we get a bad rap. We get the short end of the stick. We get more jail time. There are people that don't deserve to be in jail. Let me say that. But also, let me say, there are some black people, some black men that do deserve to be in jail. And I'm speaking from experience, what I've observed, even in my own family. Let me tell you, I grew up with my uncles like they were my brothers because my mother had me when she was 17. So I was still at home with my grandparents, with my grandmother. And I'm going to tell you when I saw the black family breaking down, it started with my grandfather. For me, my grandfather was the beginning of everything falling apart. Simply because my grandfather wanted to go out there, he was making babies everywhere, would come home and want to beat my grandmother's ass because those bitches out there in the street pissed him off. My grandmother worked her ass off. My grandmother worked her ass off. My grandmother and my grandfather moved into a predominantly white neighborhood. And their friends, other working class black people moved there as well. Nice neighborhood, they wanted better for their kids. But my grandfather wanted to be out there in the streets. Can y'all hear me? Hold on. Hold on. Can y'all hear me? Let me go out and come back in. I'm sorry. Can you? Hey, Lindsay. Okay. Okay. I'm back. I'm back. I'm sorry, y'all. I was in the car. I was in the garage at work. In the garage at work, the sound is bad. You get a bad reception. Did y'all hear anything I said about my grandfather? What I let me go back over it again. Can you guys hear me? Look, okay, start from the beginning. Okay. Good God. Okay. As I was saying, the conversation that Sean Bradley had with Club Chat was a conversation that needed to be had. I've had this conversation with my siblings. Um, My grandmother and grandfather both were cab drivers. They both drove yellow cabs, and they worked their ass off to move into this nice neighborhood that was pretty mixed. Um, and they could have had it all. But my grandfather wanted to be out there in them streets still. He wanted to be out there in them streets making babies everywhere. And he would come home and want to fight and beat my grandmother's ass because those women out there in the streets pissed him off. And my grandmother had enough of it. She divorced him and she went and got her a 357 Magnum. And he still didn't want to let her go, but she told him, Ninja, I will put a hole in your ass the size of Texas if you come back into this house with your shit. And that was the beginning of the end because my uncles started mimicking the shit that their daddy was doing. Fighting on women, disrespectful to women, calling women bitches, treating women like shit because they saw their dad doing it. And I saw, growing up, I saw domestic abuse. And I'm not going to sit up here and blame it on a white man and all the other. Are there people that are racist that will keep you from climbing a ladder in certain circumstances? Yes. But we have a lot of opportunities to be better as Black people. But then a Black woman get out there and start doing her thing. My uncles, and I listened to what Sean Bradley and Club Chat was saying. My uncle always got one uncle of mine, notorious for jumping on women. His girlfriend, his baby mama would come to me crying. And I used to tell her, you a fool for staying with him. Do you like those ass whoopers he put on you? Why are you still with him? My uncle is only like about 6 years older than me. And he wouldn't fuck with me because he thought I was crazy. Because he knew that you may be bigger than me, but I pick up something and knock the fuck out of you. I come over you while you sleep and hit your ass in the head with something. So he wouldn't fuck with me. But I would be that nephew, that gay nephew that would tell those girls. One girlfriend, he got another woman from Indianapolis. And I loved her, still in touch with my family. My uncle loved to put his hands on her because she was a woman with low self. Men are attracted sometimes to women with low self-esteem. You feel there's something about you that make you feel insecure. But you want to get a woman that you can even make feel less than how you already feel about yourself. And instead of him staying around, taking care of his child that he made with the first baby mama, because he only has one son. Instead of you staying around taking care of that first, helping your son, you out in the fucking streets by your own choice. That was your own choice for you to be out there in the streets and not have anything to do with your son until he got older. And hey, Q Robinson, wifey, mysterious mermaid, I'm sorry, mermaid. But yeah, I'll be so glad when this damn rodeo is out of Houston. All you see is fucking cowboy hats and fucking cowboy boots. But I don't know. Sometimes I've heard women say it's better to have a piece of a man than nothing. Little girls are molded to always be caregivers, always giving so much of themselves to a man to build him up. Meanwhile, you're building him up and he's tearing you down. Leontine, but we don't wear no. Listen, I got one or two family members that have horses and they have cowboy hats, but that's not the majority of us don't. And when they were saying my fedora was a cowboy hat, no, it's a fedora. It's not a goddamn cowboy hat. But I noticed my grandfather very, he would be very demeaning to women because. And I went back and I heard the stories and family that talk older family members. His mother coddled him. His mother would bring the other women that he would mess around with. He would bring them to my great grandmother's house. His mother would let him bring other women around her while he had a whole wife at home. Her son could do no wrong. But what happened is you become a grown ass man that feels entitled. This feeling of self-entitlement. Okay, all hot air. We gotta stop making excuses for these damn brothers. I grew up in the house with my first cousins. We grew up like siblings. But some of them turned out to be some just no account ass ninjas. Laying up on a woman because she got welfare. What kind of shit is that? You laying up on a woman and she taking care of you. So if she got 3 children, she actually have 4 children now because you're just a 4th child. What the hell? Come on. Hold on, y'all, because I can't. This damn traffic downtown. And somebody having a fucking quinceanera. Okay. Hey, Doreen. Doreen is blessed. But I'm telling you, black women have carried my family. Black women have carried the family. Because you know what? Let me tell you something. I love my father. And just keeping it real with y'all, my father was coddled by my grandmother. My father treat women like shit. His ex-wives, good women. But he wanted to be doing his own thing out there in them streets instead of being a family man staying at home. And him and my mother never got married because my mother was a fighter. My mother was a fighter. I felt in another life she was a little stud. But my mother was not. She didn't play that shit. I never saw my mother. My mother didn't have a bunch of men around us. But my mother would have killed my father. Because she was her daddy's girl. And my grandfather treated her. She was the oldest. She would go to the country. My grandfather taught her how to shoot guns. She would go fishing. Very tomboyish. Used to fight boys, whooping boys' ass in high school. She had an afro pick. You remember back in the days they had that afro pick that was like iron, and it had like the iron little fucking I don't know, the little things, the little fingers on it. But she would fight. So I'm glad, and you know what? I'm glad my mother and father never got married because it would have been a very toxic relationship. And I just feel that, let me tell y'all, it was a story here in Houston about a little girl named Malia, made national news. Malia's mother had a boyfriend that wasn't Malia's father. This man would be abusive to this woman. And I was trying to figure out when I saw him on the news where I knew this man at. Y'all, this man would be at the gay clubs in the parking lot. Be in the gay clubs at the parking lot trying to get some kind of play. So he was a bisexual man in the closet. Y'all, this little baby was found in a damn trash bag. Decomposed in a fucking trash bag. Because a woman wanted a man so fucking bad that treated her like shit. Did you think this man would love your children? If he treats you like shit, how is he going to treat another man's child? When are black men gonna start? When are black men gonna start fighting for black women and loving black women? Black women, stop selling yourself short for these straight black men that treat you like shit. A black man, let me tell y'all something. You've all observed this. These basketball players, these footballers, they can have a black girlfriend all throughout high school and college. But when they get that, when they make it big, they always go get them that blonde, blue-eyed, blonde hair girl from Switzerland. They go get a bitch that looked like she could have been in Hitler's fucking army. Hey, and but the thing is, this little girl with Malia, my friend, works at the funeral home that did her funeral. How hard is it for your child? Your child cannot even have an open casket. All because you dealt with a man that would call you bitches, put his hands on you, and you make excuses for him because he's a fucking black man. That shit is fucking tired and old. Grandmothers put up with that shit because a lot of times they stayed at home. Grandfather was probably the only one that knew how to drive, so he could go and do his shit. Because don't think some of them grandfathers wasn't doing shit, because they would sometimes have whole families in another fucking town. And it's not to say I know good black men. Let me tell you something. My sister husband, my brother-in-law, I love him like a brother. He's a good man. Him and my sister have been together since they were in high school. My sister is in a wheelchair. My brother-in-law caters to my sister. He loves her dirty drawers. And he came from a family, a single mother family. And let me tell you something. His mother was one of those kind of women that raised men to be toxic, that toxic masculinity, because she said she didn't want to give her boys any type of affection because she was afraid they would be gay. Do you hear me? She didn't give her boys affection because she felt they were going to be gay. And the sad thing is, one of her sons doesn't he said this, and I don't know if he said it to my sister or to my brother-in-law, that he didn't even know how to love a woman. He didn't know how to be affectionate with a woman because his mother put it in his head to show that affection and that you don't show weakness because you're a man. A man can't cry. You're supposed to be hard. What kind of shit is that? You're raising a man that's like a fucking robot. But my brother-in-law broke that. And he has been by my sister's side through thick and thin. They are buying their first home right now. And all my brother-in-law and my sister have 6 children. The 4 oldest are all in college, engineering, psychology, healthcare. All of them are going to be professionals because, again, their parents were there. And you know what? A single mother can raise sons. And I was listening to Abdul, when Abdul was talking to Sean, and he was talking about a lot of things. The son, sometimes the boys would go to the father and ask for the daughter's hand in marriage. But I do remember hearing my family say that kind of stuff. And I remember some of the older men in my family did that. But you know what, Abdul, they can't do that now because the fucking fathers are not in the picture. So they can't ask him for a hand because he may be locked up. One of my cousins, y'all, he is crazy as hell. I feel he should be getting a check because, again, we grew up together, but this man, every time he would cry or want his way, they would always coddle him. He became a spoiled brat. But you know, a spoiled brat becomes a grown ass man one day that's still acting like a fucking boy. And this son got kids out there that he don't even fucking do anything for. Don't even claim them. Don't claim his children. But you want to sit up and smoke weed and fucking do shrooms and shit. And can this be blamed on a white man? Hell no. Everything is not the white man's fault. I'm in the South. I know racism. I experienced racism as a kid. I'm playing with my little friend. My friend name was James. We would ride our bikes. I heard his mother one day in their little trailer home say, I don't want that little this little ninja in my house. But what happens is James loved him some black culture. He loved everything black. James eventually got him a sister, and not one of them passable high yellow sisters. He got him a dark chocolate sister and had 4 kids. Something that you would have never wanted, you know, that's karma. And I think that we make excuses. We make excuses, and y'all, I'm driving and I'm jumping. I'm all over the place with this conversation because I'm watching these crazy motherfuckers. It's a beautiful day here, but they driving crazy. I think it's the aftermath of fucking St. Patrick's Day. Still drunk on that fucking green beer. But hey, Fire Spawn. But the thing is, black men are killing black women at an alarming rate. Let me tell you another story that happened here in Houston. And a family member of mine knew this man. This girl was missing. Everybody in the apartments, they didn't know the guy that way. He was kind of quiet into himself. He has a barbecue. And barbecuing like he barbecuing some fucking briskets and fucking brisket, pork chops. Why he didn't cut this girl up and put her on the damn barbecue pit? And this happened several years ago. Crazy. Are there white people out there in law enforcement that are fucking closet racist? Yes. But are there black people killing us more than white people are killing us? We're killing each other at an alarming rate, even more so black women. You cannot we have to face this shit, or we are on a downward spiral as a people. And that's not to say, again, with that club chat conversation, everybody making very valid points. I'm speaking from my experience, which is I see a lot more single black mothers than married mothers. I see a lot of single black mothers with multiple baby daddies. We can't deny that this is happening. It's our reality that we're living in. I got family members that got 3, 4 fucking baby daddies. Hey, Raina. I have family members. And again, and I heard Johnny Mack say, it's not all black men, you know, you can't put all black men away. And we're not. I'm not. I know some good black men. But y'all, black marriages are failing at an alarming rate as well. How many people you know that have been married over 20 years over 10 years now in our time. And my age group, y'all, the 27 to 35-year-olds, there's a lot of people that are already divorced and on their second or third marriage. And the thing is, who's to blame? I think it's easier to cheat now. I think it's easier to cheat. Our grandparents didn't have Twitter or Jacked or Adam or Adam or Grinder. Shout out to Jay Wilson. I mean, they didn't have all that stuff. A man could be on a date with you and fucking answering messages on his phone from somebody on fucking Plenty of Fish. You can get you a piece of dick on Christian Mingle. But, you know, the thing is, hey, Cedrics. Wait, let me see. Right, exactly. Exactly. Yo, and I say this, my experience, I think it turned for me. I can't be pro-black if black is not pro-me. I'm in a drive-thru at a Whataburger in my mother's car. And I told this story before. This little punk-ass bitch, nigga, has a 12-gauge shotgun. Puts it up to my mother's window. Another black person my black man, a black person that I supposed to be his brother and fight for him. How the fuck am I gonna fight for someone and they're trying to kill me? This man, this boy, shot the side of my mother's fucking car with buckshots. Could have killed me. I'm at Whataburger at 1 o'clock at night to get something to eat because I didn't work the fucking 3 to 11 shift at my job. And you come to rob me, another black person, and I'm supposed to fight for you and save you? Fuck that. I will never fight for a black person. If you're doing wrong shit, you deserve to have your fucking ass in jail. Killing our sisters, killing our mothers, our daughters. And I'm supposed to fight for you? You know, that's not. You know what, Leah T? But let me tell you, I think there's hope for us as people if we just get a grasp on this. We have to get a grasp on this. Because I remember on divorce court, Judge Lynn Toller said that if we don't get control of this as black people, it is us on a downward spiral. Is what she said. It was the death of us because we're sitting up and rappers are rapping about you being a fucking piece of tail, having a bunch of women around them. Does that say, think about it. You're a black woman and a rapper is rapping about all his bitches and hoes. Do you know he's talking about you when he's saying his bitches and hoes? You're nothing but a piece of ass to him. I wish you wouldn't see me fucking twerking and shit. And at this age, I ain't finna be trying to twerk because I'll be soaking in some Epsom salt the next day. But if I were to twerk, I wouldn't be fucking twerking on a song calling me a F. Or you talking about gay people. These men are misogynistic. They don't respect women. And it's a whole group of young boys growing up with this mindset that you bitches and hoes are nothing but you're there to be fucked and just keep going. Look at all these rappers that got all these multiple baby mamas. The man that Ciara was with, Future. But you got 7, 8, 9 fucking kids out there? See, Future he has the money to take care of his baby. But look, Dante ass over there fucking getting everybody pregnant in the neighborhood. His baby mamas are gonna be on food stamps. I told a girl in my family, a young girl in my family, I sat her down and told her, never sell yourself short for a man. Stop selling yourself. Stop making little girls feel that they have to be complete by having a man, because what they do is they don't realize their dreams and they let a man flourish and become who he's supposed to be. Meanwhile, they sat at home and had kids. The motherfucker get to a certain place in his life that he want to go get him a trophy wife and leave you with the 4 fucking kids that he popped you with. Oh, wait, okay, hold on. I got a super chat. Who sent me these coins? Let me. Y'all, I was just talking. I didn't even. Hey, okay, I'll check if faith is a substance. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the super chat. Send me some more. I'm gonna show you my cat. Thanks for the super chat. Super chat. Uh, as I was saying, and you know what? Let me tell y'all. I grew up. I grew up, and I saw a lot of dysfunction. There was an older family member. He was into. He was a pastor, well known in the community. A cousin, a distant cousin, like in the older black families, they kept in contact with their families. You could be a fourth or fifth cousin and you still coming around. So this older man was like my grandmother's second cousin. This man was coming around trying to feel on my aunts and other young girls in the family. I remember this shit as a child. A pillar in the community. Pastor. And the thing is, I saw this and it was like me having an epiphany at a young age and saying, I knew what I didn't want to become. And I knew what wasn't right that I would be seeing. What are y'all saying? And the thing is, I think that there's a lot of undiagnosed mental disorders in the black community. Y'all, we were raised by people that had mental disorders at time, and what they did was fucking raise children, and not, our parents didn't come with a rule book. They didn't know. So a lot of times you were raised by someone that was ignorant to a lot of different things. But you'll tell me, well, Big Mama used to do this, and Big Mama said, you take care of your man at all costs. Big Mama maybe had an 8th grade education and never had been out of the 2,000 population town that she grew up in and was born and raised. Meanwhile, you've traveled overseas and seen the world, seen different people. Some of them, they raised us to the best of their ability, but sometimes that wasn't good enough. Even when it came to spanking and stuff. Now, do I think a child needs to have a pop on the ass sometimes? Yes. But whooping children with stitching cords, that's child abuse. I don't care how we try to make it seem, well, she kept me out of trouble. If you're putting whelps on your child that could get infected, that's child abuse. Think about it. You popping you, because let me tell you something. When I was getting my ass popped at school, it made me act right. When they was popping me on my ass with that baby, I used to go to the. I used to be sent. That coach used to wear my ass out, and I'm gonna tell you when they would call my name over the loudspeaker, cause baby, I'd be like, "Damn it! I thought I had dodged the bullet." Then they would have us lined up in the hallway, and you get 2 or 3 pops. It was like 3 pops, baby, and they always had that coach or that fucking stud, that stud gym teacher, and she had one of my gym teachers. That motherfucker had some guns on her like uh what's D-Cop shit. She had arms like D-Cop. Imagine D-Cop giving you fucking paddles on your ass. But strangely enough, that made me kind of swing toward S&M as an adult, so it didn't work out too well. But I I think that changed as well. Yeah, we were afraid. Because let me tell you something. I remember my mama had did something and she made me mad, and I told my uncle Lee. I told my uncle. Now this is my baby uncle. That's like 3 years older than me. I told him I was like, "Oh, I can't stand that B." I said, y'all keep in mind at this time I'm like about 8 years old. Yeah, I had a badass little mouth. The grown-ups didn't know it. They thought I was sweet, but I had a little I was mischievous. And my uncle gonna run it, his messy ass gonna go tell my mama what I said. And she gonna call me. She said, "You got something to tell me?" I was like, "No, ma'am." And she was like, "Oh, I'm a B." And I was like, "Huh? Oh, you called me a B?" I said like a bee that stings. I said like a bee that stings. And she was like, "You let me hear that again. I'm gonna be a bee stinging on your ass." I was pissed off at my uncle, his snitching ass. But I wouldn't curse in front of adults. My mouth was just bad around children of my age, because I had to grow up fast as well. Because the parents were working, they were out of the house, so us children were left to our own devices. And just like Abdul said, I was hanging with my older uncles. My uncle that's three years older than me, and my other uncle that's 6 years older than me. They were like my brothers, so I would go places with them. And sometimes the girls they met had younger sisters, and they would like try to fix me and the younger sisters up. But some of them younger sisters looked like some fucking hobgoblins. But I didn't care about that. I was just mimicking what the older kids did. Me and this little girl hunching on each other. We hunching. I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I'm doing because my uncles would take me to the girlfriends' houses. They would go in the bedroom and be having sex. I grew up. I shouldn't have been exposed to that at that age. But the parents, my mother working, my grandmother working, children left to their own devices are going to get into some shit if they don't have someone watching them. I saw my uncle cutting up baking soda and shit, making crack to sell to some of the crackheads in the neighborhood. He was a dope dealer. I remember this shit. But that same uncle became abusive to women. Him and his older brother, they would jump on women. And didn't stay married to a woman, divorced, making babies here and there, going to the next woman. All I say is we were given the short end of the stick as black people. The stereotypes about us. Just a lot of things that work against us. With all that, we just have to work harder than our white counterparts, than our Asian or Latino counterparts. We have to work harder. If we have to work harder, why would you go out there and willingly do shit that's going to put an X on your back to make it even harder for you? I never understood that. I would never be in jail and someone telling me when I can piss, when I can eat. That's why when old Tree Dog pulled up that background and she said it was me, I'm looking like, girl, you so fucking far off. You're way off. No. Now, if that was a family member, I'll tell you, there are family members of mine that have been to prison, still in prison. But that's not my ministry, sweetheart. And this whole conversation I wanted to have with y'all because I think we shy away from topics like this. You know, as far as we want little girls again, what Sean was saying, I've said before. I told a good friend of mine, I told her, you set your daughter up for failure. And let me tell you how and why I told her that, how she set her daughter up for failure. Her and her husband had two children, a girl that was the oldest, and a son. They made that girl have to, she had to be perfect. Couldn't do anything. But that boy, he went to school in Atlanta, had girlfriends, moved in with his girlfriend, was having sex since he was 15, 16. They kept it on their daughter's back. Don't you go out there and have sex. Don't you do this. Don't you do that. Meanwhile, your son got to experience and know what he liked, what he didn't like. He got to live with his girlfriend before they got married. You made it so hard for your daughter that she waited till the person came along that she wanted to have sex with and got married, and it didn't last because she didn't get to experience who he really was. She didn't get to live with him because y'all made her feel so guilty about, you going against the Lord's word. And why wasn't your son going against the Lord's word? Why was your son allowed to go out there and experience life, and he met a girl that he knew, I'm compatible with her? Your daughter didn't get to drive that car before she bought it. So she got with a man. What if that man was horrible in bed? He ended up cheating on her with someone else, and she divorced him because you made it so hard. She didn't get to drive that car to know it was a fucking limit. Your son got to drive fucking rental cars. He was in Avis, Budget, Hertz. He got to drive all the fucking cars until he found the right one to be a car that he kept. The daughter didn't get that. She didn't get to experience that because you made it like, you save yourself for your husband. And I had to ask my friend, did you save yourself for your husband? Okay, Lynn T, did you save yourself for your husband? No. She had sex in Louisiana and she got to experience it. I wish I would wait to be with somebody and we move in together, have sex, and that shit is whack. The fuck? No. Absolutely not. And I know how I am because I told the story. Yes, I cheated on a boyfriend before. I sure did. That motherfucker thought he was going to cheat. This guy I dated, I had to tell him, hold up, this is what we're not going to do. You're not going to treat me like how a man treats a woman. See, a man will go out there and fucking do everything he want to do because he's a man. But as soon as a woman do one thing and she cheat, she's a hoe. She's that. I told him straight up, what you won't have is somebody sitting at home. I said, if you think you're gonna go out there and fuck other people, I'm gonna fuck other people. If you got a problem with that, you might as well step. Hey, Percat Ashley. And me and that guy was together for 7 years. It was supposed to be a one night stand. But I couldn't cut that motherfucker off me. That motherfucker was latched on to me like Tracy with ticks. But I it worked. The relationship worked. He just had a problem with drugs and alcohol. And motherfucker, why that white stuff on your nose? Why your eyes dilated? Hell no. Oh, this not gonna work. Hey, Patricia Ellington. I was talking about the club chat conversation you guys had. Y'all, let me tell y'all something. Beyond Beauty was going in. And I was standing right there with her, and it's all hot air. And it's all hot air because and when you said, if you want to have love, you want to love a man, your brother should be allowed to love who he wants to love. Thank you, Doreen. Bless. All I say is, and y'all, my grandmother got with my grandfather. He was a womanizer. He was a woman beater. And my grandfather did all this stuff, y'all. And right now, my grandfather is dying right now. And I'm just keeping it real with y'all. I hadn't came on here and said anything. Only a couple of people knew about this. My grandfather is sick in the hospital, not even responsive or anything. But he raised hell his whole life. And how do you feel about that? How am I supposed to feel about someone that I'm blood related to but hadn't been in my life in 15 years, really? And I think that, even when my grandmother passed away, my grandfather was still talking shit about my grandmother, and my mother cursed him the fuck out. When my grandfather used to jump on my grandmother, my mother used to jump on him. My aunt has a scar. That's why when Club Chat was talking and the woman said that her sister or her had a cut from when their father tried to cut her mother, my aunt told me, and I just found this out some months ago. My grandfather was coming at my grandmother with a knife. My aunt got between them, and she still has a small scar on her arm. How do you think a girl growing up seeing their mother being abused physically by a man, him stomping on my grandmother's head against the ground? A part of me wants to hate him as an adult. But it's just, I can't let hate, dictate me. But when we sat around and we talked, and some of this stuff started coming out about him coming out, he trying to stab my grandmother, my mother fighting him. My mother was a fighter. She kicked some ass. I saw her whoop a couple of asses. And she would jump on her father when he would try to fight their mother. A man that went and had his a whole nother life and family. You come into the picture trying to take a house from a woman that had to work her ass off to keep the house. You're still trying to have your fucking influence over her when you have a whole nother family. Baby Patricia Ellington. Baby, Beyond Beauty was that baby. She made my day. And the thing is, we do. Hold on, what do y'all say? But Okay, Patricia Ellington, right. Yo, I grew up not having many positive male role models. My father was out doing his thing. My grandfather was out doing his thing. I didn't know what a family really supposed to look like. What was that? I started seeing that when I would go to friends' houses. And I think we can, if we get a grasp on it, come away from the ledge. Because again, these young boys, these girls, what is marriage? Marriage is becoming obsolete. I have a lot of friends that be like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that shit again. Oh, no, no. Hey, internet granny. And that's the thing, though, y'all. We sit up and we don't. Me seeing my uncles jump on girls, my father treat women like shit. My grandfather treated me good as a child. He treated me good. He bought me comic books when I was a little boy. He stepped into the role of a father. That's why I'm so torn right now. My grandmother, my grandmother raised me a lot of my life. My mother had her battles with alcoholism. And I tell that story. I'm not ashamed of it. My mother got better in her later years. I was a little child having to get my brothers and sisters ready for school. How the fuck am I dressing children for school and I'm 9 and 10 years old? 11, 12. And I don't know what my mother was dealing with. Had someone did something to her? Was she self-medicating? I don't know. She never told us anything. But let me say this. A drunk mind speaks the truth a lot of times because people be guarded with what they say. But when that liquor, baby, a drunk's tongue is a true tongue, with the exception of Quantity. But I've seen a lot of um, truth come out when people be drunk. And I grew up and I said, my first apartment, my family grew up on the northeast side of Houston. My first apartment, I was 19. I moved to the opposite. Baby, my family stayed northeast. I moved way southwest Houston. Because I wanted to be away from, I felt I escaped. And I would come and see my family, but I wanted to love them from a distance because of what I had seen growing up, what I experienced. Uh, and I got off topic. The whole topic was about black women and black men doing what they're doing. But it was just, I guess it comes all back around full circle because my grandfather had a good woman. My grandmother would cook for him. Now keep in mind, she drove yellow cabs with my grandfather. They both had their own cabs. He would be at work. He'd come home. She'd go to work. She would cook and have his meal ready, his bath water ran. And this man still wanted to be out in them streets and would still come home putting his hands on his wife. Nobody, no institutionalized racism, no white man made him do that. He did it. He did it himself. He wanted to do the shit he did. And when she would call him out on it, he would be abusive. My uncles had good black women that wanted to have shit, but they wanted to do what their father did. They were mimicking. He was their role model. They were his boys. They became their father's mirror images. And Doreen is blessed. You know what? That's why it's like I'm fighting with myself. You know, my grandfather's he's had strokes. Uh, and it's just like this darkness in me that just wants to hate him. And I'm just being honest. It wants me to hate him, but I do remember having good times with him. He was just a shitty husband. But I knew what my grandmother went through to keep her house. She fought to have her house. She worked her ass off. This is a single black woman that was left. This was a single black woman that had to divorce a man or either be dead. With 9 children, mind you. 9 children to raise. And to pay a mortgage on a house. High school sweethearts. And you come along years later and try to take the house from her. Okay, internet granny. Really. And you know, it made me become a gay man that didn't take shit off a man. Baby, guys that I dated would tell my friends, ooh, your friend got a smart ass mouth. But strangely enough, my smart ass mouth made these motherfuckers run me down like fucking hound dogs. Oh, you feisty. I remember a boy, the guy I was with for 7 years. I talked to him the other day actually because he still has the dog that we got when we were together. I let him keep the dog because he paid everything and the dog was mine. You know, I bought the dog, but he paid all the vet bills and everything. And I didn't want to be a bitch when I left him and just take the dog, but I made his ass sign. I made him sign that the dog, if you couldn't take care of me, he'll come back to me. But I remember that we got into it. And he said, ooh, you be bitching. And all I heard was bitch. I said, who the fuck you call a bitch? I'm a bitch. If I'm a bitch, your mammy's a bitch, bitch. And he was like, I didn't call you a bitch. I just said that you be bitch. And I said, but you better watch it in the context you use it in. I called this man a bitch and his mama a bitch. But I did that because I saw women in my family my aunts had to become strong. When their father treated their mother like that, that's what made my mother become so much. She was already a baby. My mother was a hellion. But when that, I think that created who she became was not taking shit off any man. And my mother, you know, she would meet a guy here and there, but it wasn't a lot. I can remember throughout the years, maybe like 3 guys that she dated or like that were interested in her. Would curse. She would run the men off because she would curse him out and just make him feel less than. My mother would be. She would call him a. She would call a man a piss poor ass nigga real quick. You ain't you a no shit ass nigga. My mother was like that. She would curse, and my friends would meet my mom, and they would love my mom. Oh, your mom was so sweet. I'll be like, don't let the smooth taste fool you. That's a motherfucker right there. My mama will get. You ain't seen her at the best. Really, internet granny? Okay, Shauna. Thank you, Doreen. Patricia Ellington. Okay. But you know what, internet granny? I'm gonna tell y'all, I meet guys, but I really like being single right now. I like going and uh not having to check in or anything. I can go out of town. I can do what I want and not, get a call. Why you didn't call me? I thought you was gonna call me on your lunch break. Why you didn't answer my call when you was at work? Can I call? No, shit. And I do have my little Scooby snacks. I have little Scooby snacks. If I want to have company, I said munch. If I want to have company, I can. I stay in a central area. If I can call a piece that'll be at my house in 15 minutes. And the funny thing is, I've had to tell them, but I say them like it's so many, just a couple, few. But uh, during the week, and I'm seriously, during the week, I don't want to deal with a man. I wait till the weekend. If I want you to come over, you can come over Saturday. That's it. You come over Saturday. This guy got mad at me. Well, he wanted to know if he could spend the night, and I was like, no. He's like, why not? I said, just because I'm not comfortable right now with you spending the night. I want to come over there and chill. What part did you not understand? Stop being so pushy. It's not a good look. And I blocked him. I can be a little bitch sometimes. I'm gonna admit it. I'm gonna admit it. I can be a bitch sometimes, but I'm usually sweet and angelic. But I hey Terry Hughes, internet granny. Yeah, that's true, Lynn T. You don't forget. And the thing is, I can love a person. I can love you, but I can love myself more. I love you enough to walk away from your ass. I tell, I told my niece, y'all, I love my niece. But this little boy for my niece is in college right now and got maybe another year before she finished. But when she was in high school, this boy strung my niece along. When it came for her to go to prom, he stood her up. And I remember asking my sister, I said, is she having sex? And my sister said she thought she was. And I said, what it is this boy is using her for convenience. That's what it is. He's using her for convenience because if she's putting out to him, he's going to call her whenever he feels the need to relieve himself. Yeah, I keep it real with my family and I talk this is how I talk. When my sister asked my niece about was she having sex with him, my niece started crying. And my niece, my niece would always be available. And these little boys know if they got the girl that's putting out to them, they're gonna deal with you on their terms. Thank you, Internet Granny. I told, and I have conversations with the girls in my family. You are a queen. I say you are valuable. Your life has meaning. Don't you ever let a man come along and diminish who you are. Some men, I don't care, they could be fine as hell. A lot of them are still little insecure boys. They had a mother. When I was with that guy for 7 years, I had to rebuild him to a certain extent. This motherfucker pissing on toilets, not washing dishes, all the shit that told me his mother did everything for him. And I was like, dude, I am not your maid. I said, dude, you piss on why are you pissing on the toilet? And he was like, I didn't piss on the toilet. So we got a fucking little house elf. We got a little gremlin in here pissing on the toilets at night. Dude, you gotta do better. I'm not your maid. Why is this? You done came in here, you done cooked and you done fucked up shit. If you're cooking, I will wash the dishes. If I cook, you gonna bring your ass in here and wash some dishes. I am not your mother. You're going to have to step up and be a partner to me. In a great, you a mess. But I'm gonna tell y'all, I have seen so many talented women, successful women that can't find a man. And why? These are beautiful women, black women. My friend from Detroit, my friend from Detroit, she went through nursing school. She's a nurse on the floors. She is a director of nursing now. She can't find a man because men are intimidated. Men want you to need them sometimes. Instead of you being a partner, they want to be able to call the shots and dictate to you what the fuck you can do. But when you have your own money and can do shit on your own, that to them is intimidating. Okay, Lynn T? That's intimidating to them. That same man to go get a girl with 4 or 5 baby daddies, 4 or 5 badass kids, and be living on her, eating her food stamps up. Y'all, I can be in the store and it irritates me. It just runs me hot. Let me tell you this. It'll be a girl that may have a weight issue like Brianna. Brianna hasn't said anything about me, but I'm just using her as an example because she's so huge. But it'll be a girl like that have this skinny little yellow man, little Frenchman looking guy with her. And you'll be thinking to yourself, that's an interesting couple. I wonder what brought them together. Her fucking food stamps in her Section 8 housing. Hey, Deidre. The thing is, he's living on her. She's taking care of him because she feels she got this little Creole, this little Frenchman looking man, this little biracial swirly guy like Wendy Williams would call him. These swirly looking men. He's sleeping. He's sleeping with you because you're providing food and shelter to him like a fucking cat that you fed that don't want to go away. like this goddamn possum that's living over here. I'm gonna beat that little motherfucker ass when he get back in the trash again. But don't y'all call them fucking PETA on me either. But y'all, I've seen this throughout the years. The guy, he's walking in front of the girl, not walking on side of her, but walking so many feet ahead of her, and she's trying to keep up with him, but she's a big girl. These guys know who to prey on. Thank you, internet. But the thing is, these guys know who to pick. And my friends, I have some very successful female friends of mine that are single, beautiful women. All of them are very pretty. Again, it's hard to find a man because these men, again, they've grown up and still are boys. They were coddled. They want a woman, either they want a woman to take care of them, and that's the man that's probably been in and out of jail, can't get a job, have fucking long criminal records. So they'll get with a girl that's doing her thing and the girl is trying to work to have a better life. That man leeches onto her to drain all of who she is. He's draining her. You have that type. Then you have that type of man that has a pretty decent job, but he's intimidated by a woman that makes more money than him because he wants a woman to depend on him. Okay, Deidre? Oh, we were too independent. Need to. But y'all, let me tell y'all something. Some men can lead and be ahead of a family. You are a partnership, and you make decisions together. But I've seen households where the man was the head of the household, but not all men should have that right to be the head of a household. If you've been carrying this ninja's weight, no, you're not the head of the household. I don't care if you got dick and balls. You're not the head of the household. This woman has an extra child, basically. And you're sitting up here, y'all, I'd be in the grocery store, and it'd be the first of the month when they didn't got their TANF or the Lone Star card here in Texas is called the Lone Star card. And you'll see the girl with all these sugary cereal, sugar smacks. You're thinking it's for the kid. It's this ninja picking all these cereal. He coming in there, yo. This shit it just makes me feel like I'm in a Twilight Zone when I see it. I hate to see my black people act like this and just be at a place at this particular place. So I'm in a store, she picking the basket, and he like, man, I'm gonna get those sugar smacks. He getting 2 or 3 fucking sugar smacks and cheer and fucking fruity pebbles and shit. Your grown ass is sitting up here picking all these sweets and shit. The girl in there pushing the basket, and you can tell. You can tell. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, y'all. Had a phone call. But you can tell when a man loves a woman. You can tell. You can read body language. If a man is showing you no attention and he just want to climb on you at night to get his rocks out, baby, that's not a relationship. That's just a piece. That's just a piece of dick. That's not a relationship. Girl, you can go get that in any fucking corner, practically in any neighborhood. And I say this, y'all, I had a cousin. Internet granny, you witness it, and it becomes so common. It's common. And I had a family member, y'all. She was she was maybe like 16 at the time. She got pregnant. She didn't tell her family. She didn't tell her mother and father. This girl had to go get a late term abortion. Maybe she was, I guess, I don't know if it was, she was like 4 or 5 months, and it cost a hell of a lot of money. I I think that's abortions, and if a person was raped or it was incest, I get it. I can't tell a woman what to do with their body. If I may not like it, but you're a woman and you make your own decisions. This is something you have to live with, not me. But she had that abortion because she felt, thank you, Internet Granny, she felt that this guy was the love of her life. That shit went south real quick. Turns around, when she left him, she found out he got 3 other baby mamas out there on the streets, and he ain't doing shit for his kids. So you would have been just another baby mama with his child. My cousin is living her best life now. She's traveling the world. She's going places. Beautiful girl. But, my sister made my niece get on birth control. My sister made my niece get on birth control. When my niece was in high school and started having this boyfriend and started being around him a lot, my sister was like, oh, hell no, I'm not going to be a grandma. I'm putting you on. And she got the birth control that they put in the arm, the Norplant. I don't know if it was the Norplant or it was a newer version, but she put her on birth control because she had that conversation. And my niece is like, I'm not doing anything. You can tell, y'all, when these little boys and girls, you can tell when they start being sexually active. Little boys start smelling they musk. Little girls, that little boy can do no wrong. And I had to tell my sister, sis, you remember when we were in junior high and high school, we had friends that were pregnant. We knew girls that were getting pregnant. That's something that a parent don't want to come to terms with. But you got to remember when you were in school, you weren't oblivious to sex. Hell, I knew about sex when I was 9 and 10 years old because of my older uncles. I had a family member of mine, y'all, she showed me that little old cooter. She showed me her cooter. And I was like maybe 10, and she was a couple of years older than me. Yeah, that monkey looked like it had the mange. When she showed it to me, now that could have been what turned me gay. But when she showed me that little cooter, and it had these little kinky little knotted hairs, and it was kind of, I was like, what the fuck is that? But, uh, hey, Joy Love. But sometimes you have to come to the realization that kids are more mature and aware of things that you don't give them credit for. That little girl that did that to me, let me tell you something. She was my stepfather's niece. She got about 6 kids now. But when she would always try to get me to have sex with her. And I wasn't having sex. I had hunched a few times, yes, but not with her. And she was my step cousin. And I was like, what? Wanting to try to get me to play mamas and daddies and shit with her? No, I did play mamas and daddies, but not with her. I went, shit, there was friends I played with. Okay, Internet Granny, right. My sister said, I am not going to be a grandmother. I want my kids to go finish college or finish some trade school, but I am not going to be changing no diapers and burping no babies right now. And, when my niece started crying, when my sister asked her were they having sex, that answered it right then. The little boy wanted her to go to the same college with him. He go my niece, has perfect grades. She's determined. Shit, my older nephew that's older than her, he's behind her. She took extra hours. She was going to summer school. She wants to be a psychologist. But and I told her there's some family members that could be her patients. You can do case studies on them. But um, that little boy wanted her to go to his college with him. And my sister was like, hell no, you will not. No, ma'am, you will not. So he get his ass to the college that he wanted her to go to. Y'all, he done failed his fucking classes and couldn't go to school. Got fucking kicked out because you couldn't maintain your grades. Meanwhile, Niece's got a fucking straight A and B. She is a great student. But you would have sold yourself short hitching your wagon to that. Y'all, it's crazy. Again, stop raising these little girls to sell themselves short for these men that don't value them. You don't see these men opening doors and uh, you know, just coming over and meeting your family. A lot of girls don't want men. That's an older thing. A lot of women nowadays don't like men opening doors for them. But if a man really loves you, you'll see other things. He'll show it to you that he loves you. He'll tell you he loves you. He'll be there for you, and not just to come get a piece of ass when it's convenient. And on that note, y'all, I got to get off of here. I done made it home. Um, the landscaper came through. He has done. I'm looking at my yard right now. The man did such a great job on this yard. I'm going to start getting back out in the yard and planting because this weather has been shitty. And I'm so glad it's warming up. But again, thank you guys for coming through. We need to, and much love to you, Deidre, also. We need to keep this conversation going. I'm so glad that Sean had the conversation that we've had. A lot of us have had this conversation with our family and friends, but it's something that needs to be addressed. This next generation, y'all, there's no hope for them if we don't get a grasp on it. And, these guys that I meet, on that note, these guys I meet, damn, is everybody on drugs? I'm tired of meeting these guys and they asking, do you party and play? When somebody first asked me that, I was like, party and play. Okay, like, go to the club, have a good time, maybe it developed into something physical. This is what I'm thinking. But partying to play is doing drugs. And they ask, nowadays, they be like, I do powder. Is that okay? What the fuck? You do what? I do powder. Okay, listen. Whatever you do, that's you. I don't do that shit. I don't do it. You do it, that's your thing. Y'all, these guys already have problems with keeping a heart on, and they be 30 years old because they be so fucking high. They already have issues with their health because they do so many drugs at a young age. That's going to be another topic we're going to address. I'm going to have some friends talk about that. Again, I'm out of here. Thank you guys for coming through. Like, share the video. And I'm out. Peace.